All right, guys, today we're going to read two chapters, chapters 35 and 36. So I'll read chapter 35, ask you a couple questions, and then read chapters 36 and ask you a couple questions. Okay? All right, here we go. Chapter 35. A picture is worth a gazillion words. We have a sub. This is bad news. Then it gets even worse. We begin with an assignment to write about a person that we know who is brave. I start to come up with reasons to get out of the assignment. Go to the nurse. I haven't yet met a sub who says no to a trip to the nurse when you tell them you're going to throw up on your shoes. I put on my sick look. Just as I'm about to raise my hand, the sub turns to the class. Where is Allie Nickerson? Huh? Freaky. And I raise my hand. Oh, I have a note here that says that you don't have to write, so you can just draw a picture of your person. My face gets hot. Well, that figures, says Shay. She can practice her coloring, and then there will be Play-Doh and nap time. My toes curl in my sneakers, and I slide down into my chair. The sub looks at Shay and shakes her head, but kids are already laughing. So what's the difference? The sub gives everyone else a piece of lined paper, and she gives me a plain one. I sit stunned, wondering why Mr. Daniels would do this. He betrayed me. Now I feel like I am really going to throw up. I stand and have to concentrate on walking to move towards the door. Where are you going? The sub asks. Out. You come back here and do your picture. Now, I mean it. I'm finished. What are you talking about? It's blank. No, it's not blank. I drew a ghost in a blizzard. And as the door slams behind me, I hear kids laughing at my answer. Soon I am keeping Mrs. Silver's chair warm. So, Miss Nickerson, I must admit that I have enjoyed not seeing you lately. Things seem to be better with Mr. Daniels as your teacher. He's keeping you in line. Yeah, he's a peach, I say with a cut in my voice. Are you going to call my mom? No, I don't think so. I want you to call her. Please call her. Why? Please, I ask. I don't even know why I'm asking exactly. She looks surprised but is silent. She dials the phone and talks for a bit. Tells her that I have had a tough day. Then she hands the phone to me. She would like to speak with you. I take the phone from her. Allie, what in the world is going on? I try not to cry. I really do, but the tears leak from my eyes. Everything is so tight inside, and I'm so tired of it being this way. It's not like I wake up every day planning to be a failure. And I thought I had finally found someone to help me. And then Mr. Daniels pulls this. Allie, did you hear me? Mom? Is all I can get out. But it's squeaky and filled with longing to pull her through the phone wires to sit with me. I hear it in her voice. She feels as upset as I do. Put Miss Silver back on the phone. Miss Silver listens for a bit and finally says, Oh, okay, Miss Nickerson. We'll be in touch then. I head to the bathroom and sit in a stall long enough for the evidence of crying to go away. When I get back to class, I ask Keisha to help me write a note so I'm sure it's all correct. I leave it on Mr. Daniels' desk. I'm never reading after school or playing chess with you ever again. Not ever. That afternoon, I drop into my usual spot at Peterson's. I wonder what my mom will say about the call from school. When she comes over, she kisses the top of my head, which says it all. So, a ghost in a blizzard, huh? And she smiles at me. I half smile. Yeah. Pretty funny, I think. She leans over and puts her hand on my cheek. And it's everything I can do to not cry right there in front of everyone. I trusted him, I tell her. He was the first teacher who... And I stop because I can't say the words. You know, honey, I bet there's an explanation for this. I bet Mr. Daniels didn't mean for this to happen. Give him a chance, okay? I nod. I hope she's right, because I want to think that Mr. Daniels doing something mean to anyone is like a fish swimming upside down and backwards. All right, so that's the end of chapter 35. So in class today, Allie had a trauma. Trauma means something that, in your view, is something that is negative that's happening to you. It usually bothers you in some way, can make you cry, hurt your feelings, make you upset. And it's trauma is something that you often will remember or think about. So in this circumstance, Mr. Daniels leaves a note, and the sub reads it out loud. And for Allie, that's just devastating because all the kids start laughing at her. So, one thing I want you to think about for this chapter is something we call point of view. So, a lot of people witnessed this trauma for Allie. Allie witnessed it. Keisha and Albert, all the other kids in class, the substitute, the principal. I want you to think about how this looked from those other characters' points of view. So, do you think Mr. Daniels meant for this to happen? Maybe write about that. I want you to pick one character to write about how they think this happened. The principal, what do you think she was thinking during all this? What do you think any of the other students were thinking, whether it's Shay, who we know was laughing, maybe what was she thinking? Or Keisha or Albert, what were they thinking? So anytime we're able to think about a situation from more than one person's point of view, it kind of gives us an understanding or a deeper understanding about what's actually going on. And sometimes it also gives us an insight to the characters and how they see things happening. So, for example, like Shay, if you write about Shay, we definitely know that Shay's not friends with Allie. So that will change how we see the situation. And maybe she doesn't understand everything that's going on with Allie. We know Keisha and Albert do, but maybe Shay doesn't. So pick one character besides Allie, whether it's the principal, Mr. Daniels, any of the students, Allie's mom, the substitute, and tell me how they think that event happened. What did they see, and how did they react to it? So you can go ahead and hit pause and write down some notes. And when you unpause, we will start chapter 36. Okay, chapter 36. In the game of life. First thing, Mr. Daniels calls me into the hallway. So I heard there was a little bit of trouble yesterday. I fold my arms. Teachers often leave special instructions for a sub, but she was not supposed to share that note with the whole class. I figured I'd write her a note telling her you could do a picture so she didn't pressure you to write. I know that you struggle, and I thought I was helping you, but I see I shouldn't have handled it by singling you out that way. Allie, I think you know I would never hurt you on purpose. I do know that, and I am so relieved to hear him say that. So I'm sorry, Allie. I really am. I hope you can forgive me. He holds out his hand to shake, and I shake back. That afternoon, Mr. Daniels moves his king, placing it on a black square between his own bishop and my knight, and I see the three of us, Albert, Keisha, and me. With Keisha as a bishop, tall and powerful, and able to move across the entire board in one move. With Albert being the king, the piece with a ton of value, but the one unable to move more than one space at a time. Always taking tiny steps, always running from and hiding behind the others. And then there's the knight, the piece that Mr. Daniel says is the clever one, the best piece for catching opponents in a fork, a piece that moves only in an L. I feel like I am the knight, as I've spent my whole life jumping over things. Shay is the queen, the piece with the most power to move and frighten, the piece most protected and sacrificed for. I realize that dealing with Shay every day is like playing chess. She is always looking for your weakness, always trying to get you flustered and force you into a mistake. Against her, you have to remember that the board is always changing and always moving. Keep your eyes open. Be careful. Have a plan. Realize that you can only stay on the defensive for so long. Eventually, you will have to take a stand. But no matter what, you don't give up. Because every once in a while, a pawn becomes a queen. Well, Mr. Daniels asks, pulling me from my mind movie. You've been thinking a long time over there. Thinking about your move? I look back down. I search. I haven't beaten him lately, and it makes me want to. And then I see it. It's the knight. The answer is the knight. I pick it up, move it, and hold the finger on the top to be sure I haven't made a mistake. Yep, I put his king in check and have given him nowhere else to move. Checkmate. He throws up his hands but seems happy. You didn't let me win, right? Allie, I have 3 brothers. I am not capable of letting someone win. He laughs a little. I think you're just invincible. And then he winks and begins taking the pieces off the board, putting them in the box. I am sad that the game is over, and I'm relieved that I trust him again. And isn't it funny? I've gone from invisible to invincible. Okay, so the very end of this chapter, the word invincible is said twice. What does that word mean? Invincible. And do you know, or do you think Allie believes that she is now invincible? So write down a sentence or two if you want. You can look it up in a dictionary. You can also look it up online. Look up the word invincible and write the definition. And then make sure you tell me if you think Allie believes that she is invincible. And I will see you guys later. Bye.